What's up everybody, Stone from Stick on the Ice here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to try to turn the Detroit Red Wings into Stanley Cup champions in just 3 seasons. So there's a few things we gotta do if we want this team to become Stanley Cup champs. The first thing is we gotta trust this young core and let them grow. We have a lot of amazing pieces on this team and I don't want to rush the process. We got 3 years here, so year 1 isn't where we're going to be making the big moves. The second thing we gotta do is improve the defense. I don't think it's a Stanley Cup caliber defense right now, but it can be in a few seasons. And the third thing we gotta do is get an all-star goaltender. We do have Alex Nedeljkovic, who I think is going to be an amazing goalie, but is he going to be a Stanley Cup caliber one in 3 seasons? I don't know about that. So let's go get a goaltender. So Jacob Markstrom, I think you can be our Stanley Cup goaltender. So I'm going to trade Sebastian Cossa, a prospect and a 3rd rounder to Calgary for you. So one thing I do want to mention is prospects like Cossa aren't going to be very helpful to us because he's not going to be ready in 3 seasons. He's got a lot of trade value though, and he's going to help us get Jacob Markstrom. The next thing I'm doing is trading Thomas Greiss for a 5th and a 6th and Robbie Fabry for a 3rd and a 5th. Now you might be wondering, well, if the prospects aren't going to develop in time, why are you trading for draft picks? Well, for a situation like this, I'm going to be packaging up a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 5th to the Anaheim Ducks for Troy Terry. And then I'm going to combine Nick LEDDY with a 2nd and a 4th for Adam PELECH. And we're going to make one more move to improve the defense, and I think this is going to be an amazing pickup. We're going to be trading a 1st round pick, a 3rd rounder, and a 6th rounder for Jakob Chychrun. But before we get into the season, I do want to sign one of our young prospects, who is Evanson. This guy's going to be an 83 overall by the time we reach year 3, so he'll be pretty useful for us. So realistically, looking at this team, we're not a Stanley Cup caliber team, but that's not the plan. We got 3 years to do this thing. We're building for the future. But in saying that, I think our goaltending is set for the next 3 years. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate 10 games into the season, and we'll see where this team's at. Through 10 games, Detroit's looking a lot better than I thought, with a 6-2-2 record. If we can keep this up, we might actually be a pretty solid team here. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the 30 game mark, and we'll see where this team's truly at. So over the next 20 games, a bit of reality set in as we went 9-9-2. I think that's a lot more realistic for this team because, let's face it, we're not going to be a Stanley Cup team. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the 50 game mark, and let's hope this team can at least stay as a playoff team. Through 50 games, Detroit's looking a lot better than I expected, with a 27-17-6 record. Not only are we 2nd in the Atlantic Division, but we're 7th in the entire league. LARKIN's currently leading the team in points with 10 goals and 30 assists for 40 points. BERTUZZI's coming in not too far behind with 13 goals and 26 assists for 39 points, and RAYMOND's going to round out the top 3 with 17 goals and 19 assists for 36 points. Hornick's leading the defense in points with 4 goals and 15 assists for 19 points, and Jacob Markstrom's doing his thing in net with 20 wins, a 928 save percentage, and a 238 goals against. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the trade deadline, and I might make a few trades. As I've said multiple times in this video, season 1 isn't when we go for the cup. It's going to be season 2 and 3. So over the next 13 games, Detroit wasn't too bad with a 7-5-1 record. I did want to make a few moves to this team, as I'm going to package up a 2nd and 3 4th rounders to the New York Rangers in order to acquire Ryan Strome. And right after acquiring him, I'm going to extend Strome for 5 years worth $5.9 million per year. I'm also going to extend Zadina for 4 years worth $7.3 million per year. Looking at this entire team, the forwards are looking pretty solid. We got a bit of depth here. The defense could use some work, but hey, we're building a pretty good core here. And the goaltending, it's looking pretty solid. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the end of the year and see how this team does. So Detroit's doing way better than I thought. They finished with a 47-25-10 record. Not only did we win the division, but we finished 3rd in the entire league. Maybe we should have made a few more trades. LARKIN's leading the team in points with 17 goals and 51 assists for 68 points. Raymond's coming in 2nd with 30 goals and 34 assists for 64 points, and BERTUZZI's going to round out the top 3 with 20 goals and 38 helpers for 58 points. Hornick's going to lead the defense with 8 goals and 23 assists for 31 points, and Jacob Markstrom picking up 37 wins with a 925 save percentage and a 239 goals against. Now I have to mention something here. Alexander Ovechkin. Pretty solid year for you. 70 goals and 33 assists for 103 points. I don't have shot and scoring frequency to high. It's currently on medium. Imagine if it was on high. He might have scored 100 goals. Nathan MacKinnon's coming in 2nd with 48 goals and 55 assists for 103 points, and Patrick Kane's going to round out the top 3 with 52 goals and 50 assists for 102 points. Dougie Hamilton's leading all defensemen in points with 28 goals and 52 helpers for 80 points, while Tuukka Rask is leading all goaltenders in wins with 42, while having a 917 save percentage and a 248 goals against. In the first round, Detroit's going to be taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Game 1 would be a statement game, as Detroit's coming out on top in an 8-1 victory. The Leafs would bounce back and even the series series at 1 apiece with an OT goal from LEDDY. A 3-goal first period from the Red Wings is going to help lead them to a 4-1 win, and the Wings continue to cruise as they take a 3-1 lead in the series. The Leafs stay alive another day with a 4-3 victory, but the Red Wings are going to close out the series with a 3-2 win in Game 6. Entering the second round, Detroit's got their hands full taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Once again, Detroit's going to have a dominant Game 1, which puts them ahead in the series. They continue to roll, picking up Game 2 in a 5-3 victory. In Game 3, we're going to be saved by a late goal from Virtanen, which gives us a 3-0 lead. Tampa would avoid the sweep, however, picking up a 4-2 victory in Game 4, but Game 5 was all Detroit as they're going to close out the series with a 2-1 win. Heading into the conference finals, we're going to be taking on the Washington Capitals. Maybe I should have went all in, because this team's looking amazing right now. Washington's going to shut us down in Game 1 with a 4-0 win. Backstrom's going to net an OT winner in Game 2, which is putting Washington up 2-0. The Caps continue to dominate us with a 7-4 victory in Game 3. Let's just hope we can avoid the sweep at this point. But Larzauer is going to pot an OT winner to complete the sweep. But there was a slight positive, I guess, because we ended up losing to the Stanley Cup champions in the Washington Capitals. Heading into the draft, Calgary's going to get lucky in the lottery as they're going to jump up from 4-1, winning the Shane Wright sweepstakes. We had 6 picks in the draft, and our best player ended up being a top 4 potential defenseman. Outside of a few RFAs, there isn't really anyone that I need to re-sign to the team. I already have basically everyone for next season, but in free agency, I would make a couple moves, as I would offer John Klingberg a $7.3 million per year deal for 5 years, and Nazem Kadri a $6.3 million per year deal for 3 years. Both guys would end up signing, and the team's looking a lot better. Entering next season, the young cores continue to develop, the forwards and defense are looking stronger, and our goaltending, I don't think that's a concern. But before we jump into this season, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be uploading a lot of videos similar to this, so if you enjoy them, make sure you subscribe so you can be notified of when I upload. A few contract extensions are going to be offered. Dylan Larkin is going to get $8.3 million per year for 8 years. Tyler Bertuzzi is going to get $7.3 million per year for 7 years. Joe Veleno is going to get $6.1 million per year for 3 years. Adam Ernie is going to get $2 million per year for 3 years. And Troy Terry is going to get $4.5 million per year for 5 years. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the 10-game mark and see how we're looking. So things aren't looking too great through 10 games. We're 5-4-1, and this team's off to a very slow start. But over the next 15 games, Detroit bounced back big time, going 11-3-1. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the 50-game mark, and hopefully we can keep this up, because right now, this team's looking elite. So after 50 games, Detroit's looking fantastic with a 30-16-4 record. Not only are we first in the Atlantic, but we're 5th in the entire league. Dylan Larkin's currently leading the team in points with 26 goals and 25 helpers for 51 points. Ryan Strome's coming in second with 14 goals and 33 assists for 47 points. And Tyler Bertuzzi is going to round out the top 3 with 16 goals and 28 assists for 44 points. Jacob Chikrin's leading all defensemen in points currently with 5 goals and 15 assists for 20 points, while Jacob Markstrom's doing his thing in net while picking up 20 wins with a 912 save percentage and had 258 goals against. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the trade deadline, and I think a few moves need to be made because I think we're ready to go all in, but maybe not, because over the next 11 games things didn't look great as we went 5-5-1. So here's where a mistake was made. I traded Jeff Hornick for Max Domi, MACKINNON, and a 4th. Now the plan was to flip these players in order to get a better defenseman, but I did everything in my power to get an elite level defenseman like Shea Theodore. Like, I was offering 3 first-round picks and young prospects. No one would accept any of these, so we ended up leaving the trade deadline with nothing. So looking at the team, I think we're still pretty good. We got good depths with the forwards, although the defense did take a bit of a hit. Goaltending, if they stay strong, I got no worries about them. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the end of the year, and hopefully we finish out strong. So looking at the standings in the Atlantic, you might think everything fell apart. We finished 3rd with a 47-28-7 record, but if you look at us compared to the overall league, we finished 6th. And that's not too bad. Dylan Larkin's going to lead the team in points with 33 goals and 52 helpers for 85 points. Tyler Bertuzzi's coming in second with 25 goals and 45 assists for 70 points. And Ryan Strome's going to round out the top 3 with 21 goals and 47 helpers for 68 points. Mo Seider is going to lead all defensemen in points with 3 goals and 31 helpers for 34 points, while Jacob Markstrom's picking up 34 wins with a 914 save percentage and a 253 goals against. Leon Draisaitl is going to lead the entire league in points with 51 goals and 64 helpers for 100 115 points. McDavid's actually tied with him with 45 goals and 70 helpers for 115 points, and about 16 points behind was Nikita Kucherov with 47 goals and 52 helpers for 99 points. Roman Jossi's going to end up leading all defensemen in points with 12 goals and 56 assists for 68 points, while John Gibson leads all goaltenders with 42 wins with a .919 save percentage and a .255 goals against. Heading into the playoffs, we're taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, but the Lightning got a chip on their shoulder. They're looking for revenge. Detroit would take game 1 in a 2-1 victory, and Detroit would continue to roll, picking up another win, leading to a 2-0 series lead. Tampa would bounce back in game 3, and they're ready to go on a run here. After having a 3-1 lead in the game, Detroit's going to blow it by allowing 4 straight goals, allowing Tampa to even up the series. Game 5 would consist of an OT winner from Tampa, which puts them 1 game away from the second round. And in Game 6, it was a back and forth affair, but Detroit would come out on top and force a Game 7. But in Game 7, Nikita Kucherov would score an OT winner with only 7 seconds left in the extra frame. Looking at the entire playoff picture, Vegas would go on to win the Stanley Cup over Boston in 7 games. Looking at the draft lottery, the Pittsburgh Penguins would finish with the first overall pick, and they would be lucky enough to select Connor Bedard. Going from Crosby to him, guess that's not the end of the world. So with the 24th overall pick that I had, I wanted to trade that into more valuable assets, so I'm going to get the 54th overall pick and a future second. I ended up drafting 4 players with Detroit, and the best ended up being Lassi Ristolainen. Yeah, you heard that right. Lassi Ristolainen. So once again, not really anyone needs to be re-signed, but I do want to make a few changes to the team. I'm going to trade a first, a second, and a prospect to the Islanders for Ryan Pollock, and I'm also going to sign a backup to replace Nedeljkovic. I would keep him around, but I don't want to pay $5 million for a backup, so this might be a controversial move. Vrannon and a 4th for Marcus Foligno. Vrannon really hasn't done too much for us, so I want to shake up the team a bit. And I'm also going to sign Jake DeBrusk to a 1-year deal, and then trade Max Domi to the Islanders for a 2nd and a 4th. So looking at this team, I think we got great forward depth, the defense is looking amazing, and I believe Markstrom's a Stanley Cup caliber goalie, so I think we can do some big things. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate 10 games into the season, and we'll see where this team's at. So it was definitely a disappointing start, as we would go 4-6 in our first 10, but we would bounce back over the next 15, going 10-4-1. Now I'm going to simulate to the 50 game mark, so we have a pretty good idea what this team's looking like. So currently we're sitting 3rd in the Atlantic Division with a 29-20-1 record, and we're also finishing 9th in the entire league. So I think a few moves need to be made. Tyler Bertuzzi is currently leading the team in points with 11 goals and 37 helpers for 48 points. Ryan Strome's coming in second with 13 goals and 34 helpers for 47 points. And Dylan Larkin's going to round out the top 3 with 19 goals and 25 helpers for 44 points. John Klingberg's leading the defense in points with 9 goals and 13 assists for 22 points, while Jacob Markstrom's picked up 26 wins with a .913 save percentage and a .255 goals against. So this team needs more scoring, so I'm going to trade Edmondson, a 3rd, and Wagner for Toffoli. I probably said that wrong. If I did, that's tough, but we're going to run with it. And then I'm going to trade Marcus Foligno in a 2nd for Marcus Ferraro. And then the final move I'm making is I'm going to trade a 3rd and 2 prospects along with Rasmussen for Owen Tippett. So hopefully these moves are going to lead to some more goal scoring, and I definitely want to see a bit more offense from the defense, because if Klingberg's leading our team with only 22 points, we're in tough. So now I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the trade deadline and see what this team's looking like. So over the next 12 games, we were looking pretty solid with an 8-3-1 record. But I am going to make one trade. Ferraro, you did great for us in the 12 games you played, but now I want Devon Toews. The reason I'm doing this is it's a 1 overall boost. That's literally the only reason I'm doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate to the end of the season, and hopefully this team can keep the pace up. So at the end of the year, we're finishing 1st in the Atlantic Division with a 49-30-3 record, and that's going to be good enough for 3rd in the entire league. Dylan Larkin's leading the way with 29 goals and 49 assists for 78 points. Tyler Bertuzzi's coming in second with 23 goals and 47 assists for 70 points, and Ryan Strome's going to be tied with Bertuzzi with 19 goals and 51 assists for 70 points. Jacob Chikrin's going to lead the defenseman in points with 11 goals and 27 assists for 38 points, and Jacob Markstrom's going to be amazing in the second half, finishing with 43 wins and a .915 save percentage and a .254 goals against. Andrei Kopitar is leading the entire league in points with 35 goals and 72 assists for 107 points. Kucherov's going to be coming in second with 50 goals and 50 assists for 100 points, and Nathan MacKinnon, the newest member of the Seattle Kraken, is going to finish 3rd with 48 goals and 52 assists for 100 points. Quinn Hughes is going to lead all defensemen in points with 10 goals and 72 helpers for 82 points, while Jacob Markstrom's leading leading all goaltenders in wins. In the first round, Detroit's going to be taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Detroit's taking game 1 in a 4-2 victory, and in game 2, John Klingberg is scoring 2 third-period goals, which is going to give us a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 is going to be led by Jacob Markstrom, who's going to be shutting the Buffalo Sabres down in a 27-save shutout. Buffalo would be able to avoid the sweep though in a 5-0 victory, but the Red Wings are closing the series out in game 5 in a 5-4 win. And once again, for the third time in this video, the Detroit Red Wings are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the second round. Detroit's taking game 1 with the help of 2 third-period goals, but Tampa's bouncing back and they're taking game 2 in a 4-3 victory. Tampa continues to roll, winning game 2 and shutting Detroit down in game 3, but the Red Wings won't quit as they're going to win game 5 3-2. A late power play goal from Lucas Raymond is going to force a game 7, but 2 Nikita Kucherov power play goals are going to end Detroit's hope in game 7. I mean, looking at everything, Tampa would go on to win the Stanley Cup, so we ended up losing to the Cup champs in 2 of the 3 years. You hate to see it, you really do.